Hi everybody, in today's video I'm going to go through my top 10 best finds of this year, 2022. Stick around to the end, there's some really good fossils from the Jurassic coming up. All of these finds are from the Jurassic period, so roughly 180 million years old to 200 million years old. I found all of these fossils at my local beaches. I spend many hours across several beaches looking for fresh fossils which have freshly been washed out from cliff falls by the sea. So fossil find number 10 will be a joint 10th place. They are both the same species that I'm going to show you. I originally cracked this rock open and it revealed a really nice iridescent ammonite. You might notice a blue hint. It's faded a little bit now, however it is still slightly visible in the right light. Coming in at joint 10th place was this nodule which my dad actually originally picked up, and I cracked it open to reveal a lovely Dactylioceras semislaton again. It needed a little bit of preparation work, however look at the actual quality of the ammonite. Now it's been professionally prepared by one of my fossil collecting friends. This ammonite came from the grey shales of Brunswick Bay. This is a really nice chunky example and I just love how it sits in the very middle of the rock. This is one what I actually have on my ammonite display. The rocks that these ammonite species come in tend to be quite soft. Coming in at 9th place is the only fossil in this list that doesn't have a before video or picture, but you just have to trust that I did originally find it. It's a beautiful Dactylioceras athleticum ammonite fossil and you'll be able to see why it made the list. It's a top quality example, really large size, and the prep work is absolutely superb. The original reason why I didn't make a before video is because I didn't expect it to be as nice as this. The prep work was done by my friend Malcolm and I originally found this lovely ammonite at Kettleness. A little bit sea worn, but it's all there. Crocodile vertebra. Personally, I found crocodile bone to be even more rare than Ichthyosaur. Another joint place here is this lovely crocodile vertebra that I found at Saltwick Bay. Really nice pyritic example with some of the neural processes still attached. It's got quite a lot of pyrite on and the lighting does make it seem a really weird greeny brown colour. However, it doesn't look like this really when you're looking at it in natural light. Also coming in at joint 8th place is this lovely piece of crocodile bones. I originally found this washed up amongst all the beach pebbles at Brunswick Bay. I could see little bits of bone sticking out. The bone present on this piece is a lovely black colour, which I guess is unusual. It's probably from a certain layer which causes all the bone to be this particular colour. This piece consists of two quite large crocodile scutes and what looks to be a rib on the side. The preparation work of this piece was done by Mark Kemp, the Yorkshire fossil hunter, who gave this back to me as a gift for my birthday. Really appreciate this piece, as crocodile bones are really quite rare on the Yorkshire coast. I picked this very pyritic pebble up amongst all the beach pebbles at Kettleness. I could see two vertebra sticking out and you'll be able to see the quality of the piece that my friend Ryan has prepared for me. Two perfect vertebra from an Ichthyosaur are present. As you can probably imagine, I was told that this piece was extremely difficult to prepare due to the pyrite, which just makes penning the fossil extremely hard. But I think he's done a fantastic job of this piece for my collection. It's just one of them fossils that sits really well in the palm of your hand. If you do enjoy watching these fossil collecting videos, please be sure to hit that subscribe button on my channel if you want to see more in the future. This particular find was a very unexpected one. I was walking back from a unsuccessful fossil hunt and I spotted a loose slab with a worn and quite crushed looking ammonite poking out of the side of it. As you can probably see, the top half that was exposed is quite crushed. However, when I managed to chisel it out, the underside was absolutely perfect. My mind was just blown to see how well preserved it was on the other side. This has had no preparation work at all. I simply put a bit of paraloid on to give it a nice shine and highlight the details. So initially I did pick up this rock at Kettleness on a rather stormy day, and I could see 2 or 3 potential keels sticking out, which I suspected might be Hildoceras ammonites. However, the preservation could have been a bit iffy, but I gave it over to my friend Malcolm, who's done an absolutely fantastic job, and I'm pleased to say there is 2 double Hildoceras ammonites inside. Here are the pieces. Now it's been professionally prepared. It's got a lovely cut base because it is quite a heavy old lump, and it sits really well on display. Really nicely on this rock are 2 lovely Hildoceras ammonites. Now, Hildoceras ammonites aren't the rarest ammonite that you can find on the Yorkshire coast. However, to get more than one in the same rock is considered really rare, as I'm sure any of you collectors who actively collect on the Yorkshire coast will agree. So I'm really pleased with this double example. Now, this particular ammonite fossil is the very first example of this species that I've found. It's called a Paposuros vortex. It was a very early morning hunt, and as I was walking by a little slip, I noticed the nodule. It had both edges covered, so one side has been prepared. You might be able to notice little nodes on the very edges of the ammonite, and I'm really pleased that these have been kept. It also has a complete mouth border. I always like to add something new to my fossil collection, especially when it's prepared to this standard, and it even has a lovely cut base so it stands on its own. If you would like to purchase your very own fossil from the Yorkshire coast, please check out my website called buyafossil.com. I've got a bunch of beautifully prepared Jurassic ammonites for sale, also some fossil bone from the marine reptiles. I'll also ship nodules to your house where you can crack open your very own ammonites. So please go ahead and take a look if you are interested. Now, this fossil was definitely a surprise. I did spot this nodule at the very end of a fossil hunt, and I noticed a few worn edges poking out of a nodule, so I gave it a tap with my hammer, and very rarely do they split as kindly as this. Both of the fossil halves, the negative and the positive, have had a little clean up. However, it didn't need that much work as the split was really nice, just a few middles cleaning up. The positive example has a larger ammonite preserved on it. As you can probably appreciate, this piece looks absolutely fantastic on display, and I'm very pleased to have found it. Even the negative example has a few positives, but I think this also has its own unique charm. When you put both examples together, it's a little bit like opening a book. I would love to know if you disagree with any of these rankings, so please do let me know in the comments. So this is a super exciting and very heavy find that I found recently. Poking out of the edge of this rock is part of a Ichthyosaur rostrum. It seems to run at least to the very middle of the rock. I'm pointing to a number of very little and worn Ichthyosaur teeth. I've highlighted on your screens now the teeth that could originally be seen. A tiny little bit more prep did reveal a lot of scattered, tiny and very fragile teeth on the very top of the rostrum showing, so it's going to be going to a bone expert for future prep. Keep an eye out to see the finished fossil, although it may take quite a while to be fully prepared. For me, it was quite a difficult decision to decide which fossil would go in first place and which would go in second. However, I chose this Ichthyosaur jaw for second place. Now, you've seen what state the rock was in when I originally found it that I've just played. I mean, I didn't expect anything like this would be inside. Lovely upper and lower Ichthyosaur jaw with very small and scattered teeth in the very middle in the tooth canal. Now, the preparer of this piece was Mark Kemp, the Yorkshire fossil hunter, and he's added a lovely cut base so it sits right in front of my TV so I can always look at it in the living room. I've just picked up my first piece of marine reptile bone in ages. So I'm guessing it's a piece of paddle section, probably from a plesiosaur or maybe a really large ichthyosaur. Very nice, only a small little bit. I believe I've had some more of this in the past, about 2 years ago. It looks pretty similar, but I'm very happy with that. So I chose this lovely piece for my #1 fossil find of the year in 2022. Now, when I originally picked it up, I did expect it to be really worn Ichthyosaur bones. However, when Ryan prepared it for me, I was quite shocked to see what had actually come out of that little sea-worn rock. So I think it goes without saying to say how rare this lovely piece of plesiosaur paddle digits actually is. Maybe one day I'll find some more of this, a very large Jurassic marine reptile, but for now I've got this lovely piece in my collection.